Close the poll. Around 100% people says that it is audible. With this, we can go ahead. There is nobody who is said that it's not audible. Voice is audible. With a brief introduction of today's speaker, I can start the event. Mr. Mantu Basak, currently Associate Professor at Fashion Design Department, National Institute of Fashion Technology, Kolkata, serving from 2009. He is also currently doing a PhD from the University of Leeds, UK, in a School of Design. His research topic is reduction of malodor in wearable hygienes and wound care devices. It's a very interesting topic. He completed his MSc in Advanced Textiles and Performance Clothing from the same University of Leeds, UK. Dissertation is comparing the dyeing isotherms of cellulose, first cotton and cellulose to lyocell. BTech is also from the Textile Technology from the University of Calcutta. He guided numerous number of students project. He himself involved in a lot of industrial and consultancy project works. He had given the large number of invited talks and presented the research papers in the various conferences. He's also having a good number of papers in the research journals. With this brief introduction about the today's speaker, Professor Mantu Basak, I request sir to take over and start his session.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Sir, you can share your screen. Just a minute, sir. Yes. You can share your screen.
Yeah.
Now
you need to make me presenter. Yes.
Yeah. You are now presenter, and you can share your screen.
Yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, it is visible. That's not an issue.
Boris sir, thank you so much for
whenever you wanted to launch the poll, you just tell us. We'll go into
okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Yeah. Just a minute. I just need to my video. Okay. Yeah. So I need to minimize my video. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's coming on the right.
In the screen, if you go, then you can find out the two arrows.
Okay. Boris sir, thank you so much for the introduction, and I would just like to thank all the participants also for joining in this lecture session today. And having said that, when I say it's a lecture session, I would say it's going to be more of interaction type. I have few questions. Whenever the time would come, I will ask Boris sir to initiate the poll, and that's how we will try to make it more interactive, so that it's not only the lecture I'm giving to you. It's my experience, whichever I have gathered, all through these professional years, and during my industry attachment and as well as professional attachment. I'm going to share that thing with you. And the topic I have been given is the green technology in garment industry. So coming to the point, just a minute. Okay. The flow of the presentation I'm going to follow is first I would like to talk about a bit about the garment industry, the importance of the garment industry in Indian textile industry, and like the technology we are using and why you call it as a green technology, and why we are so much of concern about this green technology, why the green technology is the talk of town now. What would happen if you don't think about the green technology in garment industry? And my next point would be the process which you follow in garment industry. I'll show you the process, and then I'll try to pinpoint the areas where we need to focus on in terms of energy requirement or problem areas. And then I'm going to talk about some sustainable solution which already the industry is adapting, and I'm going to talk about few ideas which is like people are discussing all around the world, and can be like sustainable solution for our future, for the better future of our next generation. Okay, now the garment industry. As we all know, probably know, I understand that some of the attendees are from mechanical background, some of them are from electrical background, and very few of them are from textile background. So just would like to give you some idea about the garment industry, how the garment industry is so important for all of us. As you know, before the start of the presentation, we are having informal discussion with Dr. Maiti and Dr. Boris, like food, shelter, and the clothes are the very basic elementary needs of our life. Okay, so in that way, we can understand the importance of textiles in our life. Day-to-day life, we interact with textiles. We can't think of our life without textiles. So even though we are not a textile engineer, we understand the importance of textiles in life. Okay, then why it is so important for our Indian economy? Okay, it's important for our life, we understand that, but why it's so important for government and for our Indian economy? It's one of the most important industry after agriculture, and it contributes about 7% of total industrial production. This is the data I have received from Government of India's website, Invest in India website, and it's there at the bottom also. You can see that these are earlier the data were a bit on positive side, but now because of this pandemic or some issues, the number has gone down a bit. So the 7% of Indian total production is being contributed by this textile industry. Okay, and 2.3% it contributes to the Indian gross domestic product (GDP), Indian GDP. And the apparel and the textile industry contributes a fair amount of like market share, a fair amount of share, that is 13% to total export earning, whatever the India is earning from exports. It also employs near about 45 million people who are being employed by this Indian textiles and apparel industry. When I talk about Indian textiles, then it includes everything like the handloom made products, handicraft made products also. So it's huge employment. It generates huge employment in Indian total economic business. Now, Bade sir, can you have that question regarding the green technology?
Sure, sir.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, there is a poll. Poll is launched. Please participate in that. The question is, what do we understand as green technology? 3 options are there. Please choose it fast. Sir, you can.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I understand that many of us already know, probably have certain ideas, but still, I was thinking that I would ask you so that we can make it more interactive. And I understand the time after lunch is demanding. It demands some rest. So it's always like interesting to have class, after lunch and all. Audience,
Be fast and participate in the one vote. Within a 10 seconds, we are closing it.
Yeah, sir, if we
I
get
will
answer
closing
is
it down, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. बोले sir.
Yes, sir. So can I see the result?
Okay. This is the result on the screen. Have you seen the result on the screen?
Having positive, I can see, but how can I make it big? I think just want to make it big.
No, actually in your screen it might be small, but everybody's screen it is going to be big.
Yes. So, sir, if you can help me out. So the first one is, what is the percentage?
63% is for the technology is energy efficient. Technology uses color green 0%.
Okay, 0%.
Technology uses conventional energy 37%.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
I will hide it.
Okay, sir. No issue. Thank you.
So, or you record it further?
No. I'm okay with that. Thank you so much, sir. For your help. It's good that most of us have a certain understanding about the green technology. It's not that it uses conventional energy only, but it needs to be energy efficient. Whatever the technology, whatever the energy we are using, it needs to be efficient, energy efficient. It needs to consume less amount of energy. So that's what we call it green energy, and we call it a green solution. We call it sustainable solution. So we are going to come slowly in the subsequent slides. So the technology, the definition, I have brought it like from the Britannica.com. Obviously, we know the technology and we know the meaning of system. Technology is nothing but the application of scientific knowledge to solve our day-to-day lives, real life issues. That's what we call it technology. So whenever we talk about green technology, the technology has to have the energy efficient. And whenever we talk about the technology in garment industry, obviously that should be the energy efficient technology, and that's the main focus for our presentation today. So a system, when you talk about a system, then it's a group of interacting or interrelated entities that form a unified whole. So a system is nothing but different technology put together, and then they are forming a whole. As a whole, they are serving some purpose. They are serving or solving the problems of human life. So hopefully we all know this. There is output, there is a system, and then we get we get output. So input in a system, we process the input and then we get the output. Okay. The main point why I'm saying this, because whenever we try to understand the process in garment industry, so in garment industry also there is raw material, and that raw material is being processed through different system, through different technology, through different machines, and then we get the output. So if our system is not energy efficient, so we would not get a product which is sustainable. So slowly we'll unravel this concept. And so in a system we have different technologies. Whenever we talk about green technology, my point is to substantiate that as a whole, which thing which system we call sustainable. So I'm just this slide is going to talk about that in a system we have different technologies. We may have different technologies. We may have one technologies. We may have multiple technologies also. So in a system, when we have different technologies, so this is called the technological system, or technology system. And this system, we actually use it in most of the in any of the industrial process. Okay, be it textile industry, be it chemical engineering, be it your mechanical industry, automobile industry, everywhere it's the same thing. So my point is to have that the basic understanding. I understand that most of us the attendees have this basic knowledge. So, but I'm just trying to put it in a context so that it becomes easier for us to understand what are the processes involved in garment industry, and then how this process is or can contribute to the sustainable future. So whenever we talk about system, it involves a lot of technologies, and this system is being converted into this kind of machines, earlier we used to have this old one where we used to operate it by hand, and then we have modified sewing machine, with motors and everything attached, and it's like only thing is you need to give some instruction and then it will stitch for you. The third one is the higher version, the modified version, and with sophisticated technology where the control is much better. The user can have better control over the machine, and they can have different kinds of functionality or kind of possibilities to use that machine. So technological system is actually converting to machines. Now, as we were discussing the green technology, then why this green technology? Uh, why this is the talk of the town today? Why this is so important for us to understand, the green technology? Because like there are a lot of issues, climate change issues, global warming issues, and it's happening all around. Okay, our temperature is increasing, like at a faster uh, space what was expected before, because the technology used are not that energy efficient, and this has a lot of negative impact on our environment. Okay, so uh, like that gives us the foundation for us to think about this green technology. So the system may use different technologies, maybe a machine have more than one technologies, and this technology can be energy intensive and then can be energy efficient, as we already talked about during our poll, that when this energy intensive, that means that system, the technology is using more energy, and when it uses more energy, we categorize them as rate technology. Like as such, there is no word called rate technology, but we categorize them as rate. So energy efficient, consume less energy, and that's how it has positive impact on our environment and sustainable also. So let's compare this to this figure. Um, there are different technologies used in one system. In one system, you can see some technologies are into the red category, some technologies are in green. Here the technologies all are in green, so obviously it's very obvious that this system is going to consume higher energy, and that leads to make the system as less sustainable. Whereas the system which is using the whole technology as green technology, and that is more sustainable. Okay, the sustainability is the concept now. So the sustainability, when we call it as a sustainable thing, so why this sustainable technology is so important? Why? The sustainable technology, it talks about it meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. What does that, to put it in simple version, what it says, that we are meeting our own demands. So obviously we need to meet our own demands. That's why we have developed this machine. Earlier we were using hand-driven sewing machine. Now we have uh, used different technologies, and we have converted into a motorized machine. Why? Because we need better, like we need higher production, we need better quality of product. So we have developed this system. So we need to meet the need of this generation without compromising the need of the future generation also, and that is sustainable, and that technology is sustainable. So green technology is sustainable. So that's why the energy efficient technology is green technology. Whenever this green technology, it's sustainable because it consumes less amount of energy with the same output. As we have seen that there is input and output with the same amount of uh, energy consumption, it gives better quality of product, it gives higher amount of product. So the technology which is energy efficient makes it green. The technology which is green, it makes it sustainable, because the green technology is not only meeting our demands, not only serving us our like fulfilling our demands, but also it is taking care of the future demand for our future generation also. So it is becoming sustainable, and that's how we are actually giving a better future to our next generation, and that's our motto. So our motto is the technology which we are going to use in our garment industry, it should be green and sustainable, and the machine we are going to use, that should consume less energy, and that should be energy efficient. So now coming back to our process flow. Sorry, I'm getting one call, it's distracting me. So now we understand why the green technology is so important for us. It's not only to protect our environment, it's about protecting our future generation also, to give better future to our next generation also. So whenever we think about the process in garment industry, why you are so concerned about garment industry? Because textile industry as well as the garment industry are the one of the most polluting industry all over the world, because they use a lot of chemicals, they use a lot of energy, and uh, like that's how they are unsustainable in comparison with other process, in comparison with other industrial activities. So let's see, this is just a very basic understanding about any process. I hope we all probably know this, but just to give it more uh, understandable to all of us. So a process involves raw material as inputs. It uses different technology. Uh, it might involve human intervention. It might involve different chemical ingredients, and uh, different energy source, external and internal energy source. So when the raw material is being processed through all these, it gives us an output. When all these tech, we are thinking about the green technology in any process, so our pain points, like our problem, our main focus should be to identify all these areas, which are those areas which are actually contributing uh, to the concept of unsustainability, to the concept of, you know, uh, like uh, uh, not good for our better, like future generation. So if I see the machine, as we have already discussed, that machine uses different technologies, and the machine, when it uses in a power, it can give us, the it can help us to achieve the process or the product sustainable. Similarly, if we see the raw material, the kind of raw material we are using, so if the raw material is contributing to the concept of sustainability, to the concept of green technology, then our process would be sustainable. So these are the areas where we need to focus on to make a product, to make a process, to make a product sustainable. So when all these parts contributes to the whole of the system equally, and with green technology, then we get a product which is more sustainable, and that's how we can provide better uh, um, environment, better future for our future generation. Now, in a process that is very specific to garment industry, it actually starts with if you are talking about the uh, material flow in the garment industry. So this starts with the fabric store. So there is a space where we keep the fabric, we store the fabric, and then the fabric goes to there is a fabric processing. Okay, chemical processing. It that is dyeing, scouring, and then bleaching. It could be any kind of chemical processing. Then but this fabric dyeing, fabric finishing, these are sometimes it might be optional in garment industry. So this area, it just a minute. Yeah, this fabric dyeing portion, it could be optional, but I have put it just to give you some understanding about how we can how the process is being followed in a garment industry. So after the fabric gets dyed, then obviously the fabric gets dried, and then it goes back to uh, the fabric store. From the fabric store, the the sampling, small amount of fabric is coming to the designing section and sampling section. So when a garment industry gets the order, so the order gets processed. First, they make the sample, they design, and they make the prototype. Once the prototype is approved by the buyer, then we start the production. But it's designing and sampling is also one very important part in the garment industry. So designing and sampling, and then once your sample is approved, the fabric goes to the spreading and cutting. So there is a department where they gets the fabric from the fabric store after the approval of the design, and after the approval of the of uh, the buyer of the samples, then production starts. So in the spreading and cutting department, we lay the fabric, and then uh, we lay the fabric in different layers, and then there are cutters. There are automatic cutters, there are I'm going to show you in my subsequent slides. So spreading and cutting, and then it goes to the sewing department where there are sewing machines, and then the cut pieces are being sewn uh, to the final product. What could be the product? That depends on the order. And then after sewing, it goes to mending and repairing section where, if there is any issues in the sewing department, so that gets repaired and that gets mended. After that, it goes to the finishing department. In the finishing department, we do wash the garments, because when the fabrics are coming through all this process, it might get dirty, it might get soiled. So uh, from that point, we need to wash the garments, and then we need to iron it. So in the finishing section, mostly washing and ironing is happening, and then after the garments or the clothes gets finished, it comes to the quality control department. And quality control department, they can do online quality control as well as one-time quality control also. When the fabric, the garments get finished and it come to the store, the quality department checks the quality of the garment as per the requirement of the buyer, as per the order, and then it goes to the packing. So once the garments are packed, then they are stored in the delivery room. From there, they get delivered to the desired destination. So this is the whole process of garment industry. Now, sorry. Sorry, my screen got, I think. Hello.
Mantu sir.
Hello, sir. I think my screen got freezed. I don't know. I'm having this issue.
Sir,
Uh,
if you are using the
yeah.
YouTube, you just
Okay.
what inactive
Okay.
and then change them.
Yes, sir. Now, yeah. Sorry, sir. Now it's coming. So, yeah. Uh, Thank you, sir. So, in the garment industry, uh, from the energy point of view, if you see, you know, uh, these areas, the fabric dyeing, the designing and sampling, then spreading and cutting, then sewing, and then finishing, and then packing. These are more like mostly these these departments uses a lot of textile machines, and uh, these are energy intensive machines. So uh, and these sections has a huge contribution towards achieving that sustainable future for our uh, next generation, for our society. So I'm going to specifically talk about these areas where what kind of sustainable technology, sustainable solution we can adapt, and that going to give us a better future for our future generation. And that would be my topic. That would be my point in the subsequent slides. Okay. So what we can do to achieve sustainable process in garment industry. So now uh, we, we we have different process. Out of this process, there are specific areas where we can intervene and we can apply green technology, and we can make the whole process sustainable. Whole process of garment making a sustainable one. So three major factors for sustainable process in garment industry or any other industry is like, uh, capacity utilization, equipment fine tuning, and the technology upgradation. So in this when we talk about the green technology in the garment industry, sustainable technology in the garment industry, we don't have uh, like any control over this, capacity utilization, because that should be there. If we go for higher capacity utilization, we'll get better quality, better production. So our main focus would be on technology upgradation. What kind of technology we can upgrade so that that process, whatever we are using till now, can be more sustainable. So that's the main point here. Uh, yeah, the sustainable process and the areas where we can actually intervene and we can adapt sustainable technologies. So the first is the first area, the fabric dyeing. I think that has been covered in some other lecture, so I am not going to talk about that because that's the a part of whole chemical processing of textiles. Okay, so I'm as a garment manufacturer or as a faculty from this garment industry. So I'm going to start with this the first department, and that is designing and sampling department. What we can do in this department so that this department can contribute sustainability to the whole process of garment making. Okay, so the first thing is zero waste pattern making. We call it zero waste ZWPM, zero waste pattern making, or it could be zero waste pattern designing or pattern cutting also. So when I say zero waste pattern making, pattern designing or cutting, what does that mean actually? So before that, we just like to understand and a few points which are related to this uh, pattern making and pattern design. If this circle is going to talk about the whole consumption of fabric in garment industry, then we can see out of those whole fabric, 20%, approximately 20% goes to waste. It goes to waste because uh, because of our designing issues, because of our pattern making issues, or because of some other subsequent processes. We mostly uh, like generate waste of 20% of fabric, and that's huge. And if you can save this fabric, it could have uh, made the whole supply chain, the whole ecosystem of textile industry in a in a more sustainable position. Okay, so the main concern in designing sampling department is the fabric waste. So we need to reduce that fabric waste. Some like we need to find out ways where we can reduce the fabric waste. So the researcher came up with this idea, the zero waste pattern making. The designer, researcher, it's a collaborative approach. They came up with this zero waste pattern making and pattern designing. And then yeah, there is another thing in the pattern making. approximately 60% of fabric out of 20% of total fabric waste. We have 16%. So if we can make something in the pattern, make some innovation in the pattern making or pattern designing, then you can save 16% of fabric waste. Still there will be 4% of fabric waste, and that's because of other subsequent processes, and maybe dyeing, printing and all. Okay, so 60% fabric is being wasted because of the pattern making, and the pattern making is in our hand. So we can change the pattern so that we can utilize more amount of fabric, and we can save this approximately 16% of fabric waste. So that is the concept behind this zero waste pattern designing, making and cutting. So what the designers started doing, they started adapting this designing thinking. Now we call it design thinking. Under that design thinking process, we not only design our garments, but we also think about the whole ecosystem of, like, we try to optimally use the fabric. We try to we try to incorporate the requirement of the customer, so that in the whole process of garment making we minimize the waste. Okay, and that's in our hand. Pattern making and pattern designing is in our hand. In our hand means when the designer do the design, they can consciously reduce the wastage, the fabric wastage. So this is one example where the David Telfer, this renowned designer, and he is talking about this zero waste duffel coat, zero waste coat. So it's just one example that this is the fabric, and he made it in such a way that only with innovative ideas, design innovation, we are cutting, we are first marking them. It's called marker planning. We are marking them, and then we are we are marking them first, and then we are cutting, so there is no waste is being generated out of this whole designing process. So this is one good example of zero waste pattern designing. And then based on the pattern design, we do the marking. It's called marker planning, and once the marker planning is done, then we do the cutting. So that's the whole concept of zero waste. So see here, the designer has designed using his own creative ability, and this is very simple. But what would happen if we have a complex design, and if we have different style, different sizes of garments to be cut from a same fabric? So how to optimize that thing? That becomes another problem for us. So now in the age of digital communication and digital everything digital online, we also have the software. Okay, it's not that we are developing the software, it's already there in the market and we are using it. So let's see, this is the software where there are different softwares. Lecture software is there, Flow is there, Rhino 3D softwares are there, Rhino software. What this software does is, you need to put the amount of the fabric, the size, the whole dimension of the fabric, and the good part of this pattern making, zero waste pattern making, is that at the same time it is designing the pattern, it is making the patterns of one garments of different sizes. A garment could be of different sizes. medium, large, extra large, and then small. So using this software, what we do, we use the same fabric, and but we are having different sizes of garment cut at the same time, and that has reduced down the wastage, to like substantially, that has reduced to a substantial level. And we can't see this, but it is showing that what is the percentage of efficiency we got, like what is the waste percentage if this is the fabric, total fabric. And you can see with the different sizes and different patterns, the software optimizes the utilization of the fabric. And that's how this software is actually helping us to reduce the waste, the fabric waste being generated by our manual process. So this is one important technology the industry is adapting now, and we can adapt also whenever we think about setting up our own garment industry, or we think about some sustainable technologies in our garment process, garment industry. So this is also one aspect. We always try to the concept is the right first time. Whenever we design things, we need to design we need to create the pattern in such a way that it reduces the wastage of the fabric. And what happens is, in India we don't have our own sizing chart. So generally what happens, whenever we design any garments, and that is based on other countries, like maybe US or UK, we follow their chart, European side chart, or maybe US side chart. So, and their size sometimes don't match with the figure, with the body map we have, with the Indians have. So that's again creates some differences, and that is creating that gap where we can't do anything about saving the fabric because we don't have any side chart. So that's where our NIFT is also contributing hugely, immensely. At NIFT we have got this project, the India sizing, it's called India sizing project, where we are actually measuring the different sizes of all the Indians of who are at different parts of India, and that is randomly. We are measuring their body shape, we are the body structure, and then we are actually trying to create a chart for our the Indian community, the Indian like people. So this is what we are actually trying to do. This is the kind of machine. This is the representative machine. This is not the actual machine we are using, but this is the representative machine. It's called 3D scanner. It scans the body of humans, and then it maps their body structure, and that data is being stored, later on analyzed, and there is data matching is happening, and these are all back end process. The project people who are involved in this project, they are doing, and they are coming up with the size, the so-called medium, large, and XL. We don't have our own sizing chart. We are following the European or US. So in near future we will have our own sizing chart, and then when our designers are going to design garments for our Indian people, so then also they can do the right thing at the first time, they can make the right pattern for our Indian people, and then we can save like our fabrics. So these are the two very important technology we can adapt in our designing and sampling division in the garment industry, and that's going to give us, a very sustainable future for the Indian, textile industry. So as I said, NIFT is currently working on this Indian sizing chart. Okay, coming to the next topic, that is spreading and cutting. Spreading and cutting also we can have some technology which can contribute to the overall green technology of our Indian garment industry, which can contribute sustainability to the Indian garment industry. Earlier, we used to use the manual cutting machine. You can see in the picture there is a blade. It's called knife, a straight knife, and this is motorized. So what happens is we generally lay the fabric at different levels, on top of each other with different layers, and then what you do, we have this pattern. If you can see this, white paper on top of these layers, it is actually having the patterns through following which that layers needs to be cut. So the person is actually cutting the layers of the fabric using the straight knife, following the patterns which is drawn on the white paper. And now in this way, what happens is there are possibility of human error. Obviously humans are erroneous and they do mistakes, so there are possibility of human error, and that might lead to more fabric wastage. And then the process is slow. Obviously it's a human process, human intervention is being done here, so it cannot compete with the other industrial machines. So it's a slow process. So what we can do, we can have this automatic cutting machine. It's called spreader and cutter. And we have number of companies who are working. There are Tukate, there are Lectra, there are Gava machine. So what they do, this is automatic machine, and at the back you can put the fabric roll, and automatically it will draw the fabric from the roll, and it will lay on this flat horizontal platform. So what happens is this machine automatically spreads the fabric on the tabletop in different layers. Once the fabric is spread on the top of the table and in required number of layers, the layers could be 15, 20 as per our requirement. Okay, so once that desired required level layers are required, required layers are placed on the top of the table, then we put the patterns which we have already developed in using the software. So we just need to feed that patterns, the soft copy of the patterns, into the machine, and it will cut. There is a laser head, and this laser head, based on the feed by this computer, okay, as per the patterns, it will cut. And that's how we can reduce the fabric wastage again in the spreading and cutting department. So it leads to minimum error, less wastage, and faster process, as well as a sustainable process. Yeah. Now coming to this, sewing department, and this is one of uh, the core part of our garmenting process, because previously whatever we have done in this sewing department, we just put all these pieces together and we make the garments. Here we sew the garments and we make the final garments. So it uses a lot of sewing machines and it uses a lot of energy. So this is one pain areas um, where we need to focus on about using green energy, green technology, so that the overall process becomes sustainable. What are those few facts? Today, 25% of industrial production are driven by electric motors, and 30% of these driven systems are done by induction motors. There is another fact I would like to say. While we are sewing the fabric, 80 to 92% of the time is spent on handling the garments. We don't run the machine. Okay, less than 20% of the time we run the machine. Okay, so what happens is um, when the machine runs, if that time, if we can consume or if we can make some technology which is not going to consume huge amount of energy during this standby mode of uh, this machine, this motors, then we can save huge amount of energy. So our the main important points for these figures is that 80 to 90% time the machine remains on, but we are not using it. So if we, when the machine is not in running position, if we can save energy, and that's going to add hugely to the overall energy consumption of the dyeing of the garment industry. So from that point, now earlier we used to use induction motor. Now we are using servo motor. Servo motors are more preferred than over induction motor because it has better control in sewing machine. It has better energy efficiency over this induction motor, and it consumes less energy, electricity also. So this is actually our old version of sewing machine, where we used to use our leg, we used to paddle, and then we used to using the machine, we used to sew these garments, two piece together. Then in this modern age, uh, as our demand increases, this manual process had to be converted into the mechanical process, because as I said, to have a sustainable future, it's not only we need to think about our future's generation demand, it is also about meeting our demand also, the meeting the demands of the present also. So presently, whatever is our demand, that needs to be met. At the same time, we need to think about our future generation also. So what we did, we motorized our sewing machine, we increased our production, but by that process we consume more energy, we become unsustainable. So now that concept is there, that as we are consuming a lot of natural resources or resources from our environment, so there we fear that there might not be enough left for our future. So we are thinking about green technology. We are thinking about sustainable technology. So in doing so, uh, we have started using servo motors, which are energy efficient, which are not consuming that much of energy in standby mode in comparison with your induction motor. So uh, this sewing machine we are using right now. Now, what's next? Still, we are saving a lot of energy. We are being sustainable. But what's next? What's the future technology is going to be like? So this is the future technology is going to be like, where we are using very small, we are using robots, and use. Um, I hope you all understand that. Um, Robot use very small, stepper motor. The stepper motor consumes very less amount of energy, and then it it uh, can rotate as per the requirement, as per the frequency you are giving. Although I am not a electrical engineer, I have very shallow knowledge about this electrical parts, the motors and all. But whatever, while going through this different robotic sewing machine, I got to know that this use different small motors which consume less amount of electricity, and that is actually helping to like to sew the fabric, uh, and precisely whatever the movement is required, whatever the like placement is required. Based on that, it is working, and it is consuming that amount of energy only. So these are the some future technology which we can adapt, and it's going to like we don't need any human intervention, human involvement in making the garment in future. It's going to be done by the fully the robotic sewing machine, and it will be errorless. So that's the future technology we can adapt in garment industry as a green technology. This is also another picture which shows that we don't need any human to make a garment. The piece of the garments is being stitched uh, automatically using the robot. So I just want to show one video in this so that it gives you some more clarity on automatic sewing machine. Guys,
सर स्क्रीन थोड़ा सा बड़ा कर सकते हैं वहां से यूट्यूब का
sorry,
यूट्यूब का स्क्रीन बड़ा कर सकते हैं
अच्छा sorry,
हाँ yeah now it's better.
everything is done automatically. Only thing you need to do the programming. The patterns are being stitched together. I hope this video give you some ideas what is going to be like, the future technology in garment industry. Okay, just a minute. So this is what our future is going to be, where there will be less of human intervention, less human error, and then better quality and perfect quality always. Okay, now coming back to this finishing, I know I'm going a bit late. Professor, I think I'm going a bit late. I just need to faster so that then I can finish it on time. So in the finishing department, as I said, I'm just going to be a bit faster. That washing and ironing and pressing, these two areas where a lot of energy is consumed. So we need to think about green technology. We need to think about sustainable technology in these areas. So now, yeah, this is one important technology which I'm going to talk about. This technology is not still available in India, but in UK I have seen this technology and it's fully running, and they are doing very good business. So what they're doing, and they are finishing the garments, they are washing the garments. This could be used for finishing also, this could be used for washing also. So what they're doing, they're washing the garments using different beads, and the beads are made of polymeric material. So these polymeric materials, what they're doing, they are absorbing these dirt particles from the fabric. So in that way, what they are not using huge amount of water in this process. With less amount of water, using these beads, they are extracting the dirt particles from these garments. I'd like to show you one video on this. It's going to give you some idea about. I'm playing that video from their website directly, Xerox.
Behind the Xerox machine's not-so-different facade lies a revolutionary new technology. This unique system gives the Xerox machine the ability to save water, energy, and detergent on every load while giving a more gentle yet superior clean. This superior cleaning is only really achievable through the use of the beads. The action that the beads provide is threefold primarily. There's mechanical action, which is a rubbing action, like 1.3 million little hands doing individual hand washes on the load. There's also absorption. The beads can take into the structure various things like fragrant dye, staining, other things which you really don't want to be in and around your clothes. And the other is adsorption. This is a surface attraction. The beads physically can attract soiling and staining that are on the load and take it away in a way which conventional laundry machines physically can't do. So that explains the superior cleaning of the Xerox system. But how is the Xerox system gentler on fabrics, thus providing a prolonged linen life? The conventional machine is high temperature, high chemistry, high action in the drum. Xerox machine is low temperature, low chemistry, and a very gentle.
Yeah, I think I've whatever I wanted to mean by this big technology, you got some idea. And moving on to the next slides, I'm just going a bit faster so that I can cover all the PPTs, slides of the PPTs, and then ironing. Okay, so these are the evolution of irons which we are using in the garment industry. And then this is the new technology. Earlier we were using small tables where there is a provision of steam. We used to spray steam on the fabric, and then we used to press, and we used to get the fabric iron. Okay, that was very semi-automatic process. In this machine we used to do that. But if you see this the latest automatic ironing machine, it does the ironing automatically. Only thing what you need to do, you need human intervention just to put the fabric on uh, this part of this machine, and then it automatically does the ironing process. So it's a faster process, and its quality is also better than our own manual ironing, semi-automatic ironing. In packing, there are two areas where we can think of our intervention, that is technology and then packaging material. Okay, in case of technology, there are machines which can automatically fold the garments and pack the garments. I'm going to show you a small video on this. Yeah, this is also another folding machines, and uh, if you see the earlier version, these are the latest technology where they are using energy, but it consume. These are efficient, energy efficient. This consume less amount of energy. Hmm. And then okay, these plastic materials. Okay, uh, mostly we use plastic materials, but sometimes we are confused whether plastic is sustainable or not. But you know, uh, there are several research which has been done, and they're saying, you know, the paper bags, use 3 times more energy than the traditional plastic bag. The same amount, the same size of paper bag makes, you know, like takes more energy than this plastic. Only problem with the plastic is it's not biodegradable as paper bags or any kind of natural fibers like jute bag, cotton bag, and everything. So what we can do, and what the other industries are also doing, they are using recycled plastic. They are recycling the plastics. Okay, when we are recycling the plastic, it is actually saving energy. It is saving our environment. So that's the concept we are adapting in packaging of our garments and the recycling. And then there are biopolymer also, which are made from PLA, polylactic acid, which are from corns. There are plastics which are made from sugarcane fibers, and then from sugarcane. And these biopolymers are being used so that they firstly they are eco-friendly, and then the other thing is they are biodegradable, also biocompostable also. So these are the materials, these are the things we are considering in a garment industry to make the process more sustainable and greener. And some sustainable concept and way forward. Right now, quickly I go through this. This is the age of Industry 4.0. Okay, earlier, we were in Industry 3.0. Now we are into the Industry 4.0. What does that mean? In 3, what we were doing, we were using computerized machine. We are using, like digital thing, but these are all standalone. But these are not all interconnected. But in Industry 4.0, what we are trying to do is we are trying to make a connection with all this process in real time, and that's the magic of Industry 4.0. Like we are using Wi-Fi, we are using cloud, we are using cognitive computing, we are using big data analytics, where we are every time in real time we are analyzing the data, we are feeding that to the machine. It's another way of machine learning also, the process of machine learning, and then the machine is becoming more and more intelligent day by day, and it is adjusting itself with the requirement of the production process. So that's the Industry 4.0 framework, the digital technology which are seamlessly connected with each other. So that's in a very nutshell I did discuss, but it's a huge concept. The Germans people have started this concept, and now it is being widely adapted worldwide. Then there is a concept of cradle to grave, cradle to grave, cradle to cradle. Earlier, the garment used to be thrown to the garbage, or it used to be end up landing in the landfill. So we were not recycling it. So what we were doing, we were actually harming our environment. We are creating piles of garbage on our Mother Earth. So that is also again creating environmental pollution, air pollution, and a lot other things. So then there is a concept of cradle to cradle approach. We follow that cradle to cradle approach in garment industry. Just to give you a very brief idea about this, and this concept is actually popularized by Michael Boanbord and William McDonough. Okay, they come up with this idea at this cradle to cradle, and I'm showing you these slides. Actually, this slide is talking about first, it is talking about the technical life of the product. That means the manufacturing part of the product. The other part, it is talking about the biological side of it. Like once the product is being thrown onto the, actually it's not been thrown, it's been reused, or it's been intentionally it's been fed into the system so that it can get itself decomposed or degraded, and it can create a new feedstock for a new product. So this is also called a circular economy. The concept has come from the circular economy, where we are talking about not only the technical life of the product, as well as we also talk about the biological side of it also. Like at the same time, we consider its biological part. Okay, and how it's getting degraded and how it's becoming to its elemental to its elemental position, and then these elements how is again contributing to get the new feedstock for a new product. So this is the concept of cradle to cradle, where we are becoming we are adapting this concept in the garment industry, and that's how we become more sustainable than the previous time. Okay. LCA is another tool which generally we use in our in the garment industry. Actually, that's a tool where you can use in any kind of product, but in garment industry we generally use because mostly in textile industry, because as I said, it's one of the polluting industry, and then if we need to be sustainable, then we need to find out the loopholes, the problems in the process, and then we need to give proper solution to that. So life cycle analysis, it's a tool. I'm not going to go in detail of that because we don't have that scope in the presentation, but yes, the LCA tool, if we adapt that life cycle analysis tool in our garment industry, and that's the way forward, and we have to do that if we need to make this environment, this world a better place for our future generation. Then obviously we need to use these tools everywhere, not only in garment industry and textile industry. We need to use it everywhere to understand its environmental impact, to understand the environmental impact of product and process. And there are different ISO standards, LCA impact assessment 14042, ISO 14041 is like inventory analysis, and then we have principles and guidelines 14040. So this is one case studies. Sorry, I would just like all of you to just understand, this is one case study which I had done before, and I have just put it in my slides. Actually, it is what is showing. It is showing the whole path. It is showing the whole production path of a woven organic cotton garments. From from the harvesting of the fiber, before that an extraction of coal to energy to harvesting, and then harvesting of the fiber, the ginning, opening, and all this process, this textile process involved. You can see it's so big. In each of these stages, if we are not being sustainable, then the whole process becomes less sustainable. I would say, I would not say it's unsustainable, but it becomes less sustainable. So we need to consider into this whole process, even packing, as I said, cutting, pattern making, stitching, and then delivery, transportation. Everywhere we need to think about this, and the kind of energy that is being used and that is being exchanged in this LC analysis. You have all this process wise calculation, and these are all not done by me. These are I have sourced it from secondary research. So in spinning, in weaving, we just need to understand the functional unit to the whole. What is the functional unit? Functional unit is the one woven organic cotton garments. That's the functional unit for this LC analysis. So for one garment, we are using this much of energy, and then this liters of water, whatever is there. So the last but not the least is renewable energy. Lots of space and opportunities. We in garment industry, still we are not using solar energy that much, although we have very big shades, and we have a lot of energy intensive process, but still we are lacking in. So that would be my opinion, that we should use more and more renewable energy, which is right now is 26% of total India's energy consumption. The 26% contributes the renewable energy. So there are a lot of scope. In India, we have a lot of sun rays. We have wind. We are generating wind, but we are not utilizing the sun as that much. So solar energy could be another way forward, where we can use that and we can make the whole process of garment making more greener and sustainable. Thank you very much. Boris sir.
Thank you very much, sir. For your
I have taken, yes sir, I have taken some extra time, sir.
Not that much, sir. It is good. But systematically and very patiently, you have covered all the things. You have touched it.
Yes,
there are a lot of good remarks also from the participant. They love your lecture. Interesting topic and interesting presentation. Taruna Jain says. Then Surya Narayan says that excellent talk. One question is there from Naresh. He's talking about Gero's Bade technology in washing.
Yes. Yes, sir.
The beads are made up of which material?
Okay.
Does it harm the garment?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, I intentionally I did not mention about the material that time, but it's a very good question, and I'm very happy to answer that. Nylon is a very interesting fiber. Okay. The main problem with the nylon is it catches lot of darts. So our nylon fabric becomes dirty very soon. After using for a short span of time, it gets dirty, it gets soiled. So this Geros is actually a startup company from the University of Leeds, where I did my master's and I'm doing my PhD also. So that's their technology. So they captured this technology that nylon is capturing attracting dark particles very easily. So they are using this disadvantage of nylon, turning it into an advantage. So these beads are made of very tiny particles of nylons. Okay, and they're very soft. So when you are using these beads of nylon, it's very small, because nylon has carboxylic acid group and then amine group also, and it can catches the dark particles. So when you are actually rotating the fabric with these beads with little amount of water and detergent, the function of water and detergent is to loosen up the dark particle from the fabric. And these nylon beads, they are actually absorbing. Once the dark particles are getting loosened up, then they are absorbing this what should I say, these dark particles by these nylon beads. So that's how this process is work. But one thing, that nylon particle, which is the beads, which has already absorbed the dark particles, that needs to be regenerated. So that's the one thing after processing you have to do, so that you can reuse it again. So is that answers your question, sir?
Hopefully, I think is the answer. In continuation with that, while reusing it, how that process is taking place, reuse? Ms. Prerna is saying that how do we collect the beads again?
Yeah. So the beads are in plastic form.
Yes,
Beads
it
are
will
of
follow the drainage
nylon.
automatically.
No, it will not. It will not go. So that's the technology. So these Xerox people, the water, whatever the little amount of water is there, so that will drain out, and they have this option. Like if you see the whole machine, no, there is option. There is a chamber down at the bottom. So once your washing is done, so these beads are going to be deposited or collected into this bottom one. And when you start the machine, there is a system. These beads are being collected from the bottom chamber and it is being put inside the washing machine. So this is the way. We actually don't need to take this out from the machine, or we don't need to manually add also. It is the beads are already there in the machine, and the machine, when you run the machine will automatically collects the beads from uh, the chamber, which is sitting at the bottom.
Very good, sir.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. I think so. I think we are having another session also 4 o'clock.
Yes.
So,
Yes, sir. I'm very sorry for.
No, he's not, sir. We have kept the half an hour, and participants are really happy with your question and your answer also.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I request Maiti sir, if it is there, to give a concluding remark within very short time. Maiti sir, please.
Okay.